West Asia remains on the edge, and the fragile ceasefire between the United States and Iran continues to be tested. Iran has targeted and seized commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. The United States has been sending out warnings, and diplomacy appears to be unraveling. Let's now break it down for you. Iran's IRGC claims it has attacked 3 commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. This comes just hours after U.S. President Donald Trump announced an extension of a ceasefire on American strikes against Iran. According to Iranian state media, 2 of those ships have been seized and are now being escorted towards Iranian territorial waters. One of the targeted vessels has been identified as the Panama-flagged MSC Francesca. Reports indicate it was struck just 6 nautical miles off the Iranian coast while exiting the strait and heading into the Gulf of Oman. The ship has reported damage to its hull and crew accommodation areas. Another vessel identified as Euphoria has reportedly been hit and is now grounded off the Iranian coast. IRGC-affiliated media outlets claim the 3rd ship, along with MSC Francesca and a vessel named Epami Nonda, has been seized and diverted. Iranian sources maintain that warnings were issued to the ships before they were fired upon. This comes just days after Iran said that one of its ships was seized by the United States. These actions come amid a broader war of words and military posturing. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has called the United States naval blockade of Iranian ports as an act of war. Araghchi warns that Tehran is prepared to neutralize restrictions and resist bullying. Meanwhile, images released by the Iranian state television show advanced ballistic missiles, including the Qadr 110 and the Khorram Shahar 4, were paraded through the streets of Tehran during a pro-government gathering. These were the same missiles that were used by Iran to strike U.S. bases and Israeli targets.
های لانچرها حیثیت استکبار را مفتضح کردند و در دوران سقوط نظامی این میهن استان به استان با ما تمام خاک
While the show of strength continues, the diplomatic efforts appear to have stalled. Talks between Tehran and Washington, which were expected to take place in Islamabad, collapsed at the last minute. A heavy lockdown, which was placed in the Pakistani capital, was eased with movements resuming across the city. A second round of US-Iran talks could take place within the next 3 days. This is according to the New York Post. The newspaper is citing unnamed Pakistani sources. It's possible. That's what Trump reportedly told the Post by text message when asked about sources in Pakistan. The US president reportedly said that a second round was expected in Pakistan within the next 36 to 72 hours. Iranian Foreign Ministry says that Tehran would only engage in peace talks with Washington where the situation permits a necessary and rational basis for negotiations to advance Tehran's national interests. Trump claimed that the ceasefire with Iran has been extended. The ceasefire extension appears entirely unilateral, no confirmation from Tehran. Iranian officials are already downplaying the move, with advisors to Ghalibaf saying Trump's words carry little weight. And as the situation on the ground heats up, another critical concern about the state of U.S. military stockpiles is emerging. A new report by CNN, citing defense experts and sources familiar with Pentagon assessments, warns that Washington may be facing a near-term risk of running low on key missile systems after intense military operations against Iran under Operation Epic Fury. A major analysis by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, or CSIS, paints a striking picture of the scale of expenditure since the war began in late February. The U.S. has used up at least half of its THAAD missiles, nearly half of its Patriot air defense systems, and around 45% of its precision strike missiles. The numbers are just as significant across other systems. Around 30% of Tomahawk missiles have been deployed, along with substantial use of joint air-to-surface standoff missiles and roughly 20% of SM-3 and SM-6 interceptors. Experts now estimate that it could take anywhere between 3 to 5 years for the United States to replenish its stockpiles to pre-war levels, despite recent defense contracts aimed at boosting production. So the situation now extends beyond the Strait of Hormuz. While ships are being targeted and seized, a second pressure point is building behind the scenes. The U.S. has used a large share of its advanced missile stockpiles, and replenishing them will take years. For the moment, diplomacy remains stalled and the path ahead remains uncertain.